What are some of the things that a company like yours with ENODO is trying to work through? Because this is, I would think, part of what you're trying to provide information and provide services to try and mitigate some of these problems.
So exactly what the idea or the intent behind ENODO Global is. If I may, what we're looking at, or what we're seeing, is that politicians, civic leaders, they're paralyzed by their inability to identify solutions for the social unrest that's taking part across the United States, including Black Lives Matter. And by focusing on a solution that takes these different groups, individuals, activist groups, and finds a common identity and common narratives, you're able to bridge the divide and the growing fissures that are happening within our society. I have, but before I touch on that, let me just reinforce what you said. I hear what you're saying about the economic issues and the workforce issues, and I totally agree. If you look at this from the race lens, you're missing the point. If you look at the underlying causes of drivers of the insecurity or a lot of these movements, they are economic in nature. They're about jobs. They're about employment. And if you attach a black-white stigma to it, or an issue like that, or even saying that it's generational, in today's environment where media sound bites move so quickly, and people really don't care about what happened 10 minutes ago as opposed to 10 years ago, you're looking at how all of this is being hijacked. And let me segue into your question. In foreign countries that I've been in, you have grievances that are generational. In Afghanistan, they still believe that the Soviets are in fighting the war. You look at deep religious, sectarian, tribal dynamics that really influence thought and behavior. Within the U.S. culture, I don't see it as much. It's still a part of that, but not as influential. So you really need to address the causes or the underlying causes in order to be effective. And if you get caught up in the media cycle and you get caught up in, it's a black-white issue, or if you get caught up in what's being projected in the media, sometimes you fail to see the true drivers of the instability or insecurity that perpetuate the violence. I agree with some of what you had to say. I kind of take a different approach, and if you'd like, I'll share.
Sure.
I really believe that these politicians not having effective counters for the social unrest, their first instinct is to rely on law enforcement. And this really puts police officers in the crosshairs. Compounding this is the fact that with communications technology, YouTube, social media, they've now become the judge, jury, and executioner in some cases. Police are under a lot more scrutiny than they were in the past. Now, they being the first line of defense, originally designed to protect and serve, now they're being used as a counter against social movements. And what you're actually seeing is the militarization almost of some of the police forces and moving away from their traditional roles. So it has to stop, and the grievances between the groups and populations in the police that are continuing to grow needs to stop. And that does happen through education and training, but it really is through narratives and discourse also. And by understanding the narratives on both sides and coming to those common grounds, finding those identity layers that you can touch and create those powerful narratives that are going to resonate with both sides is one of the first steps. I'm not sure within the debate about the access to guns and the gun control measures and how effective that is, but I believe, personally believe that it should start with the education and discourse and based upon the common identities between the varying groups.